Sunday morning in the den, and we are on our third straight game at the Cathedral Classic. Up early and at it, Rock, because we play today at noon. Tough one last night, but before we break down the Penn Quakers and get ready for Merrimack today, you were very fortunate yesterday to sit down pregame as you always do. You interview Coach Nichols. Look forward to hearing those when they make the air. Tell us a little bit about that conversation you got to have yesterday.
Well, I think one of the key parts that came out of it is, we talk about them getting good shots, and good shots come with good ball movement. And he threw a statistic at me that shocked me. But out of LaSalle's 94 turnovers, 93 of them came when there's two ball reversals or less. So when they're not moving the ball, they're turning it over. And he continues to stress that if you move the ball, you get open shots. And lo and behold, what happened yesterday for a large part of that game? The assists to shots were great. They had a lot of assists yesterday. They shared the ball. The interior passing was terrific. And at certain points of the game, they were dominating Penn.
And you take a look at it, defenses are their most strong the first 6 to 8 seconds of every possession. So certainly what he was telling you and what we could see yesterday was just totally different offensive execution and efficiency. So nice to watch. When you make that second rotation or extra pass, instead of fighting, a big guy inside, you're catching it, you're getting a nice clean look. As you just mentioned, we saw a lot of that yesterday.
Yeah, it was great. It was great to see one because he has film now that he can show his team. Like, look, you don't have to listen to me. I can show it to you. It's right here. When you do this, this is the result. And they played really well yesterday. And although we did come out with the L and we ended up losing that game, there was a lot of positive things that come out of that game yesterday.
Well, you got the chance to sit down and talk with them. First question I have, by the way, I love your low Sunday morning voice, Rock. You seem very peaceful over there in your den. But you got
But
to.
you got me up so early. I mean, I'm always up, but I normally don't talk this much this early.
Well, I know your wife has a long list of Christmas lights and stuff you got to do, so we got to get this done and get to the game so you can get your stuff done. But you were fortunate enough to sit down with them before the game and talk about more than hoops. Share some of that with us.
Yeah, well, we just talked a lot about different things, and a lot of it was NIL talk. He was pointing out to me a couple players on Hofstra that people have already started to recruit, and that's some inside stuff that he shared with me, and that goes to speak of the player movement and how you know a lot of these teams are no longer recruiting high school kids; they're recruiting other people's players, and that's just the part of the game, where the game has progressed to at this point.
Great opportunity to sit down and talk. And again, as a former player, which you are, I think as a head coach, he feels pretty comfortable with you. And again, if you haven't had a chance to sit down and listen to Richie's pregame interviews with Coach Nichols, they are fantastic. And hopefully you can get them posted somewhere, Rock, so we all can get to enjoy them. I know you really like to do them. You're prepared, you ask great questions. How much have you enjoyed doing that with him before games and at halftime for our home games?
Well, the more you do, the more comfortable you get, and the more you get to know each other, the more he trusts me. The better I think the interviews go, and I think we're at a good place right now. And I just have a ton of respect for him as a person. He's well connected to his team. He knows what they need to do to win games. He's just got to get them to do it, and that's a big task because there's so many new players. And one of the things that we talked about was he's like, look, a lot of these guys they're experiencing this for the first time.
Now we're going to say this loud so that everybody in the back can hear because he said it so many times. We've said it on the den numerous times, Richie. Just say this again.
Well, I mean, these kids are experiencing this whole college thing and playing time. and being a productive member of a team for the first time. And that's something that you just can't discard. And especially when you look at how the game ended yesterday, we played like we were an inexperienced team down the stretch, and that's just growing pains.
You can't replicate it in practice. It's just too difficult. Again, the kids who had injuries, uh, until you have that game time, it's just different. And you know, he's not panicked. The staff's not panicked. They believe in what they do, and as we said on here, we're just going to keep getting better at it. And dude, I don't know what they did after Friday night's practice. Did you ask him? Did they go back to Glacier and practice like all night long until morning? Because what a different team, man.
Well, I'll tell you one of the things I mentioned in my broadcast yesterday with Kale. Um, right from the start, I looked at the team's body language, and we got off to a really good start. But there was not a whole lot of celebrating. They were very serious. They came out yesterday, and they were determined, and you could just see it in their body language. They approached the game much differently, and I felt they knew, one, they were playing a good team, and if they didn't play well, they could get embarrassed, right? But two, they literally came out determined to win that game yesterday.
You could see little not little things. You could see they mentioned it on TV. Our bench was more engaged, and they just have that right chemistry. And like you said, just because of a matter of inexperience and what we're going to talk about next, we were dominating. We were taking the ball to the basket. We were swinging it, finishing, making our offensive efficiency was so great. And then, of course, Fran McCaffrey, veteran coach, realized he couldn't stop us, and he switched to zone rock. And for that little period, we just didn't attack it and react the way we will next time we see a zone. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the key, what we didn't do is, you still have to set screens, and you still have to penetrate. And I think as a player, the idea against the zone is to try to make two guys guard one, and then hit the open man and move the basketball that way. And I don't think we did a good job of penetrating uh, the zone. And to Penn's credit, when we did penetrate, it caused turnovers a few times. We just weren't strong with the basketball.
Yeah, but like I said, so many positives. It was just like watching a different team out there. And the biggest thing, let's end with this before we get into today's game, is that uh, Coach Nichols talks about this, and he talked about it with you. The necessity to get off to a quick start.
Yeah, that was one of the things we talked about before the Hofstra game. He said, "I'd like to see us, get off to a quick start," and we didn't against Hofstra. But boy, we certainly did yesterday against Penn, and Coach has to be thrilled with the start. And it's amazing, when you do the things your coach tells you to do, right? You move the ball. They got great shots. They dominated inside. The big men inside. The interior passing was terrific, and then all that opened up open threes. And I've been saying it all along. We're not a good 3-point shooting team because we're shooting contested shots. What happened yesterday? We got open shots, and we made some. So listen, there's a lot to be taken from yesterday, even though it's not going to show up as a win in the win column. But I'm positive about moving forward with this team.
Boy, so am I. And disappointing ending, crazy ending. Penn with the that inbounds play that was a turnover, a lot of confusion there, and then we had a great look at the end. Josiah Harris with a jumper in the corner, and almost had the rebound for a putback late. So
Well,
we're
let's
right.
talk about that real quick, though,
Sure,
Ron. That the rule there is you can run the baseline after a made basket,
made bucket. Yep.
and they didn't make the bucket yesterday. Penn tried the old, you know, one guy taking it out, the other guy steps out of bounds, and we're going to throw it to him, and the referee said no, no, and it was a turnover, and we had a chance, and Josiah Harris got a nice open look, just didn't make the shot.
Now, if I'm the head coach there, I'm turning to my assistants and I'm like, "Who called that inbounds play? Who's in charge of that?" Like I would be flipping, man. That was a bad mistake. Yeah.
It was a could have been a game costing mistake, and I'm sure uh, that's something they'll learn from and never do again.
Yeah, and you don't wanna see a game end, with a kid or kids making a mistake like that to cost their
Oh,
team.
I would absolutely want to see. I'll take it any way we can get
Alright, I agree with you. I think Sunday morning, we're supposed to be in our happy place, we're in the bed,
it.
you're wishing
Hey,
evil
listen,
things for Penn Quakers.
listen. I've had bad things happen to me as a player that I've done myself, and I have to live with. Say, damn it, let somebody else live with it.
I love it, I love it. Alright, I just said that for, pull at some heartstrings, but it didn't work for you.
No, but I do. I am sympathetic to kids. Like
Yeah,
when the turnover that Acker made, that crushed me.
yeah,
Not for because he turned it over, because I know what that feels like. The
yeah.
missed shot by Harris, and there's no shame in missing a shot. You know that crushed me because I knew it crushed him, and you just feel for these kids, and it's a very emotional game. Uh, but all these things build
Oh,
character,
yeah.
and not just as a basketball player, but later on in life as a person, because life is filled with ups and downs, and the things you can learn on the basketball court that then translate to life. It's all just great stuff.
Invaluable, invaluable, and like you said, hey, you miss a shot, you walk out of pleasure, and nobody feels worse than you do. But 10, 15 years later, you're in a boardroom meeting, something goes wrong. Like you just said, you're ready to deal with that. And no one should know that better than you. Crushing the business world like you do, Rock. Speaking of crushing, we need to crush Merrimack today. All right, the gloves are off. I'm not going to be nice and wish nice things for other teams or players. It's game time, Rock. Third game in 3 days. We are bigger than them. We have more depth. What are your thoughts here as I flash the keys to today's victory up here?
Well, they're very fast. They like to play a little chaotic, is what I would call it. Their zone is aggressive, but I think our big guys should be able to exploit that on the inside, much like they did Penn yesterday. So I think we should win on the inside. Uh, they like to play fast. That may help us because I think they may force us to pick up the tempo a little bit, and
Hmm.
I think that plays in our favor. I think we don't get a lot of easy baskets, and I think the more easy baskets we get, the better chance we have to win.
We looked really good yesterday when we were just holding them the one and done and getting rebounds, kicking it out, and we had some 3-on-2s and like we've talked about on here, pace of play, and we could see that yesterday. And let's look for more of that today. So, first key to the game, Rock. We put it up there. Coach Nichols mentioned it against Hofstra. Certainly looking for a quick start today.
Yeah, I mean, much like yesterday, you want to get out. Again, it's all going to start with sharing the basketball, playing defense, sharing the basketball. Don't turn the ball over. I mean, I believe we had two turnovers in the first half yesterday. Great stat for LaSalle, as opposed to eight against Hofstra.
Dude, we had no turnovers for a long time, and yeah, it was in 8 or 9 assists, I believe, in the first half. It was just a joy to watch. Leading into our second key, they talked about it on the broadcast. Our offensive efficiency, field goal percentage, offensive rebounds, second chance points, all that stuff. Rock, were just off the charts yesterday for most of the game.
Yeah, you said it, and like again, I hate to keep harping on it, but it all started with moving the basketball, and I
Yep.
was really impressed, as I said earlier, with our interior passing. The interior passing was just terrific yesterday, and we'll need more of that again today.
Just love when big guys finish inside and then they run back with a little swagger and the guard feels good giving them the dime and just great stuff. Third key, dominate defensively.
Yeah, we're gonna, the way we play best is when we play hard, we defend without fouling. Um, and, I think we'll be able to do that today against Merrimack due to our athleticism and our size.
And the last key, dominating and owning the glass, which we did yesterday for a majority of that contest.
Yeah, I mean, we got a distinct size advantage today against Merrimack. We just have to limit them to one shot. Um, they like to play fast. Don't allow them to get second shots and control the glass that way.
So we got the size, we got the depth. We are playing at the Plestra on day 3, Rock. I feel good about this one. I felt good yesterday, but I think we're going to bounce back today and put a little hurting on the Merrimack Warriors. And as we always leave our Explorers fans, Rock,
Go Explorers!